All these prompts, my gosh. All right, hey everybody. So let's begin officially. I'm so glad you're here. I love doing this for you, and I really appreciate you taking the time during the day. I usually do things like this at night, so it's kind of curious, but obviously because of what's going on with the pandemic, excuse me, I have some goodies here for you. I'm not surprised, with that. So welcome all. And let me just give you a little bit of a preview, overview of what we're going to be doing. Then I would like to guide you through a very short exercise using the 3 fingers application. As you know, I requested that only graduates, and I only sent it out to people who I knew for sure were grads, be on the call, because I'm not going to teach the techniques, but I will refer to many of the things in the interest with the intention that it'll clarify for you applications, how to use that as we look at some of the different aspects. So the first thing I want to say to you is that I know you've heard this, everybody reminds us of how challenging the times are. And I wonder if you've been feeling confused with all the data. And it's interesting on social media how often somebody posts something and they didn't fact check it and it's made up. So we all need to be careful about that. So may I say, if you're feeling confused, welcome to the club. It's okay. Nobody has all the answers. And you're not expected to know all the answers. And as we get ready to begin, I would like to encourage all of us to be kinder to yourself and stop beating yourself up emotionally. Stop expecting, having unrealistic goals, unrealistic expectations of yourself that really just makes us feel terrible. And it's not healthy for us in any way. And it interferes in everything that we do with that. So we don't need complete certainty. I mean, I like certainty. I mean, those who were on that last famous first immersion, Silva immersion on Zoom, I wasn't very certain what to expect. And that really I was okay. I mean, I practiced and I practiced and I rehearsed and I tested, which is the best way to build your confidence. But even with that, there was still that until we actually started. And I said, ooh, this is, pretty good. So certainty is really not necessary to move forward, for us to reignite our lives, for us to keep progressing. But what we do need is courage. The courage to recognize that we don't have all the answers and that we might even make some mistakes. The courage that gives us the curiosity to learn, to ask the right questions, to move on. And I think that's really important. So we're going to build out, we're going to take a look at some steps for problem solving and creating solutions. And then we're going to put that together into an exercise about helping you to create a more compelling, more positive, more vision of your future that's full of optimism and hope and some joy. We'll do also a closing healing meditation. We'll work a little bit with our intuition. And I've gotten a few requests from people, some, shall we call them emergency cases. And so my intention is, I called this embracing the struggle, because one of the things that we're coming to understand psychologically, and all the research shows this, if we run away from the pain, if we run away from the suffering, if we avoid it, and then we self-soothe ourselves with drugs, alcohol, distractions of TV, just watching nonstop TV, video games, everybody has their way of distracting. It's a temporary fix, and it's probably it's a pathway to pathology. It's not healthy. And so if you haven't noticed, just this past week, I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of reading, putting together some ideas. And I want to say that it's okay to grieve a loss. It's okay to grieve, the changes. It's okay to grieve that we're not able to do the things we love doing, or see some of the people and hug some of the people we want to see. It is a loss. And sometimes we expect too much for ourselves. So that goes in anything. And I give you a quick little example. In doing some of the research I was doing, it wasn't about weight control or management, but what the researchers found is that people who are concerned about their weight more easily manage their weight more easily. It's like they were free to take more weight once they stopped beating themselves up about being too heavy or out of shape. And once they just started accepting, this is the way it is for me now. It doesn't mean not to do anything, but to accept that and not to, look on the scale and say, oh my God, it doesn't help. It's unhealthy. And that's, where we're coming from. So my intention is I want to leave you with some takeaways, some tools that I believe will help you to just create some more balance so that we can. So that's what I mean by embracing the struggle. It is one, not running away from it. Doesn't mean accepting it, not working to improve it, but just accepting that this is our current reality. And that will free us up mentally to think more with more hope, more optimism, and then we'll be more likely to come up with solutions, ideas, steps, etc. So how about we do a quick little exercise? I know with Silva graduates, it's usually the most favorite thing, isn't it? It's the difference that makes the difference between intellectual information. So real simple, 3-to-1 method, I'll guide you. A little bit of deepening, and then I'll preview briefly what we're doing today. So if you remember, I remind you, in your basic lecture series manual or in your Silva Life System manual, in the section under 3 fingers technique, remember this is what started it all. There's a beautiful application that when you want to learn something, whether you're attending a meeting, whether you're reading a book, whatever it is that you're doing, that you want to integrate it, make it a part of you, and be able to recall it more easily. So go back, review that if you're not familiar. That's basically what I'm using here for you. I'll remind you that you can use your 3 fingers technique to have full concentration. You'll hear me suggest you're going to hear what you need to make your life better. So please allow your eyelids to close. And Fred, I'm going to ask you for some assistance. Would you hang in there? I'm going to put the alpha sound on. I made some changes in the setup here. I want the alpha sound quietly in the background. Can you hear the alpha sound okay, Fred? I want it very soft.
It's at a good volume on my end.
Okay, so everybody, if you're having trouble, turn up your volume on your computer. If I turn this up too loud, it'll be way too loud, the sound. I want the alpha sound to be quiet in the background, but that you can just hear it, and my voice louder. Friendly reminder, this is a sound that when Jose Silva was alive, he recommended, he encouraged, that would be most important for graduates. As you know, when we go through the basic lecture series and or the core program, the beginners program, life system intuition, we use a variety of sounds. We recommend, and I live by this. So this is an auditory interpretation of alpha at 10 cycles, at the point of stability, the point of harmony, the point of brain coherence. And interesting, I wish Jose were still alive, biofeedback research, neuroscience now backs that up, that alpha is known as the center point in the brain, the point of stability, the most rhythmic of the brainwave patterns. So we use it, and I highly recommend that you, doesn't have to be all the time, but that you use it in the background, and a lot of tools that you may have learned how to use it as a healing instrument. So one last time, Fred, while I'm talking, you can still hear the sound, correct? And Karen?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, you can mute yourself now. If for any reason there's trouble, Fred, can I call? Fred is an instructor, fairly new instructor, although he's got a lot of experience in Seattle area, Northwest. He lives on an island. It's his own private island. At least that's my thought of him. I know it's not, but
I'm not sure.
we can embellish it a little bit. So I'll call on him. All right, guys. So please allow your eyelids.
Can I say one thing? Quick note: if everybody's muted, then we can hear. But when Fred speaks, this sound I cannot hear the alpha sound. But if everybody's muted and when you speak, then yes. So just make sure that everybody's muted. That would be the only thing that I would say. Okay.
So I see a few people. Sydney, thank you. I think that was Claudia. I recognize your voice. If everybody,
yes.
Please mute yourselves, everybody. It'll be cut. We don't even need the sound. If it's there, great. All right, so please allow your eyelids to close. Allow a very, very slow, deep breath, nice, healthy, cleansing breath. And as you inhale through your nose, imagine breathing in peace. Imagine breathing in comfort and peace. hold it briefly, and then as you exhale, mentally repeat and or visualize, think of the number 3 times. And just release any tensions that may be in your body. Excellent, good job. Allow another deep breath. Take your time. Breathe in peace. Hold it briefly. And then as you exhale out your mouth like you're blowing out a candle, it's okay to make noise, no one will hear you. Mentally repeat and to visualize, think of the number 2 3 times. Allow another very slow, deep breath. Take your time. Breathe in peace. Hold it briefly. And as you exhale, mentally repeat and to visualize, think of the number 1 3 times. You are now at level 1, your basic plane level, that you are able to use for a purpose, any purpose you desire. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. It is a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I'm going to count slowly from 10 to 1. And on each descending number, you will feel yourself going deeper, and you will experience a deeper, more relaxed state of mind and body. 10, 9, feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. 5, 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1. You are now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. How good it feels to progressively relax, help deeper and deeper. It is a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I'm going to count from 1 to 3 and cause a sound with my fingers. And at that moment, you may project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation. I will then stop talking to you, and when you next hear my voice, 1 hour of time will have elapsed at this level of mind. My voice will not startle you. You will relax, allow a deep breath, and go deeper. 1, 2, 3. Now project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation until you hear my voice again. Relax. relax, allow a deep breath. And as you exhale, stay awake and aware, relax, and go deeper. Today, you are participating in a Silva Graduate workshop, a mini workshop. Embrace the struggle by mastering your Silva skills so that as a result, you begin to navigate life, the challenges, with more grace, more ease, and in a flow with your intuition so that you make better, wiser decisions. In our mini workshop today, we'll be exploring mastery. Steps to deal with any suffering that might be there. Steps to take to solve problems, create solutions, the 5 steps. Look a little bit at some positive psychology as we explore this, building it out. And then you will experience a mental training exercise, a level exercise, to put it all into place, to help you create a more compelling vision of the future. And we'll close then with a healing circle. Today you'll hear and experience what you need to enhance the quality of your life. Today you will have superior concentration, superior understanding. And you may use your 3 fingers technique throughout the workshop to sustain superior concentration and understanding. And anytime when the noises will not distract you, they'll help you go deeper. And anytime in the future, when you need or desire, you will have quick and easy recall by using your 3 fingers technique. And this is so. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5 and cause a sound with my fingers. And at that moment, you may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling much better than before, feeling the way you feel when you've had the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3. At the count of 5, may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling better than before, feeling the way you feel when you've had good, healthy, normal rest. 1, 2, come in slowly. 3, at the count of 5, open your eyelids, be awake, be alert, feeling better than before. 4, 5, eyelids open, wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling much better than before. Hey, welcome back, you genius, you. Let me just go to the other screen to make sure. Nice, nice. Very good. Can I have a big smile and give me a 3 fingers? Come on, let me know that you're back and alert. Hey, good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Excellent. Yeah, I was just going to ask, you read my mind. Does anybody have a quick question? Sure, Laura.
I had a personal reflection, a quick one. It's my personal experience, but with the alpha sound, it was being interrupted. It was kind of going into the back. It was getting louder, and it was kind of disruptive, to be honest, for me personally.
It was only working when you were talking, Ken. When you weren't talking, yeah. it was quiet.
Yeah.
Right, the same thing as Jeff. Yeah. When you were talking, I heard the sound, but when you weren't.
Perfect. Thank you. So you know what? I know what to do to correct that. Thanks to Claudia in the last class. I thought I would get away with it because I was just testing it with Barbara. So in the other meditations we do, I know what to do. The reason why I didn't do it is because it blocks the screen. I have to change the screen and do a screen share, enable the sound from the computer, et cetera, et cetera. So
it's also a little too loud. It's almost as loud as you are.
Cool. Now, by the way, on this call, there are close to 50 people. I cannot please everybody because I've noticed even the last time we had 20-something people in the class, some said the sound was perfect, some said it was too low, and some said it was too loud. So all I can say is you got to play with your volume on there.
Yeah.
In terms of my voice, can you hear me okay? Yeah. Laura, thank you. And Jeff, thank you for reminding me of that. I'll make sure we change that. All right, so please allow a deep breath. And I hope you have some paper and pencil or something, take some notes, because I really need to go through a lot of material. I'm going to refer to my notes a bit too, because this is fresh out of, in fact, she's not on the call, but a little shout out to my daughter, our baby, who now finishing up in just a couple of weeks, she'll be in the final phase of her postdoctorate as an official clinical psychologist. And she gave me a book for Christmas, which I just started, and it's brilliant. And it's really a good compliment. It's a lot about emotional intelligence. And that's something, those of you who know me, my work, I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly researching, sticking to the core of the Silva method, sticking to what Jose put together, and just adding some more fruit, so to speak, to help us apply the techniques with more relevance, today. So for example, part of what we're looking at is mastery. Some say self-mastery, self-reliance, greater self-reliance. Or whether it be mastering your Silva techniques, mastering playing the piano, mastering a new skill, mastering technology, mastering a relationship, being the master of our health and our well-being, it requires several things. It requires awareness, self-awareness. So avoidance doesn't work. Ignoring the challenges, running away from them, canceling them really doesn't work. We need to have that awareness of what we're feeling. We need to have the awareness of what it means for us. And then we can more easily formulate. So then we need some skills. So the awareness, which is the beginning of taking responsibility for ourselves. It's the foundation for psychological health and well-being, self-awareness. And then we need some skills so that we can deal with it, manage it. In addition to those skills, we need maybe training for those skills and repetition. Everybody repeat after me, repetition. Repetition. Hey, want to have some fun? Part of what I've been promising this is me coaching you. And what I'm working on doing is setting up at least a monthly call with grads. There will be a fee, but very, very inexpensive, monthly, take care of the technology and stuff, and work with you like this so we can do that. So you want to have some fun? If you look, I can see Barbara. Everybody want to just unmute yourself for a quick moment and say, hey, Barbara, wake up. She laid down in the bed.
Barbara, wake up.
Barbara, wake up.
Barbara.
Barbara, wake up.
Barbara, wake up.
Morning, Barbara.
Barbara.
Maybe we need to let her sleep.
She has a good sense of humor. I don't want to put her on the spot, but this is why I have the screen so I can watch you, make sure you come back. So I'll just let her go. But notice you're all sitting, she's lying down. And it's okay to do any position, but that's part of the challenge. I'm going to say right now, in terms of the skills, is lying down is the easy way out. And we have so many decades of sleeping like that. So it is not very likely that we're going to tap prior conditioning and go off to sleep because we are lowering our brain waves. We are moving in the direction of sleep when we enter our alpha state. The key though is getting as deep as we can and staying conscious, staying aware. That's where the action's at. So it goes beyond just, and it's okay, by the way. I'm just here reminding you the tip that if you are going to lay down, you want to put several pillows so that you're on an angle. You're not in the usual position that you're sleeping. And even then, it's a bit of a challenge. So if we go back to this idea, is when we look at the research, we come to understand that just hear me out, just listen for a moment, all suffering is in our perception. Can you see that in your own life? And I'm talking about a lot of the emotional anguish. All suffering is in the way we perceive things and how we interpret it and how we view it. Would you agree? Can you see? So the idea is, I heard a thought leader say, divorce your story. So many of us are carrying stories that like we're sort of stuck in the past. I've heard Dr. Joe Dispenza often talk about people he feels are addicted to their past and to the suffering, and they kind of keep repeating that like an endless loop and keep going into the old patterns. So what we need to do is marry the truth. So we want to know the way things are. So one of the steps, there's a gap between the way things are and our story and the suffering that may be. So how do we start narrowing that gap? And one of the steps is we need to see it as it is, not make it worse, and then begin to, once we do that and acknowledge it, and I'm going to build this out in a moment, we then want to see it better than it is. I need to admit people and see it better. So how do we then close that gap more? So we need some philosophy or some psychology. We need some strategy or tools or techniques, and then we need to commit to it. So I know I'm speaking to the choir. However, how many of you, by a show of hands, have dear friends, people you know, who have read every book under the sun about, so to speak, self-improvement, spiritual evolving and so on and so forth, but they're really not living it? They've got it intellectually? Raise your hands. Somebody on my YouTube channel wrote a comment, and I'm not going to defend myself or go back there, but I was so tempted to say something. The video is like 26 minutes long. He said the training begins at 24 minutes and 50 seconds. And I said, really? Really? I mean, by the way, there's a lot of trolls out there with that. He's right, though. It's longer than I want to make it in that respect. But that's part of the challenge that we all face, is that we're on a path of getting information, getting knowledge. And there's a constant barrage in the media, social media, TV, of horror, horrific events, tragedy, knuckleheads doing really horrible things. That's the dominant. So it's hard not to, with respect to that. So it's not so much what we know. And even though if you're not doing it, if you're not living it, then you really don't know it. And if we're not doing it, living it, then we really don't get it. So the key really is, and that's one of the things that, why I continue to do Silva, is because it's a tool that we use to bring to life principles, ideas, psychology, etc., stuff that we want to work with. Please keep yourselves muted if you've got noise in the background. So I'd like to read a quote to you. You remember Viktor Frankl, when he wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning? Beautiful book if you haven't read it. And Viktor Frankl was in the, I can't even say it, horrible situation of the concentration camps. And one of the things he observed is, even though people were starving, even though people were tortured, even though people did not have proper clothing and shelter, how many people rose above it to help others and to share a morsel of bread that they had. And it became something that he called logotherapy. And he noticed that the people who were surviving the horrors and the atrocities were people who were giving, were people who were somehow helping, even though they didn't have it so good. So there's a beautiful quote. Everything can be taken from a man or woman, but one thing is, the last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So how we view things is how we do things. And that's the challenge. So let's get a little bit closer. And let me just double check people are still signing in. It's a challenge with late. A book I want to recommend, I couldn't find it. It's somewhere in my library. I have books all over the place, called Learned Optimism by Dr. Martin Seligman. Dr. Seligman has been for many decades at the University of Pennsylvania. He's particularly known for as an expert in what's become known as positive psychology. He coined the expression decades ago, learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. And what it means is, there are the 3 P's, like in the letter P. The first P would be permanent. So permanent meaning, when one is in a state of learned, notice the term, learned helplessness, which implies what? If it's been learned, we can altogether unlearn it,
Yes.
and change it, especially when we have the tools, to do so. So one of the determining factors of when one is in a pessimistic state is when they start thinking, this is going to go on forever. So let's be current with right now. Have you noticed just when we thought we were making progress, just with the virus and with changes, and there were some possible breakthroughs of vaccines, all of a sudden we're being alarmed about the spikes in Arizona and the spikes in Texas and Florida. And what we need to be very careful about is we will get through this. Nobody knows for sure how long. It's not going to go away quickly like that. But the first P, permanent, is when we kind of give up, when we lose all hope, when we lose all faith, and we think, that's it, we're screwed, we're never going to get out of this. My life is terrible, my life stinks. The second P would be pervasive. When we get into a state of mind thinking that things are pervasive, meaning, everything stinks, everything is terrible, if everything and anything could go wrong, it's going wrong. If you want to be upfront, has anybody been there?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you ever had that experience in your life? If you're not raising your hand or agreeing, then what else do you lie about? We've all at least once in our lives had that where it just seems like, oh God, no matter what, oi is right, a big oi, it's like a big oy vey. Everything is, there's a fun story which I got to dig up that I used to read in my classes about Meshka the Kvetch, who's you know the story, Karen? I have the book I used to read in my class. I'm going to go back to it. The third would be personal, meaning it's not so much about taking it personal, but when we begin to think, I'll never love again, I'll never succeed again, I'll never take that risk again, I'll never speak up again at a meeting, I'll never tell my partner how I really feel. You get the idea? So he calls them the 3 Ps that contribute to learned helplessness. So the challenge is, how do we again close that gap? The good news is it's just a pattern. It's just a pattern. It's something, an ingrained pattern. And I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that repetition is necessary. I wish that were untrue, I really do. But in order to create a new neural pathway, we need to interrupt the pattern. We need to, so to speak, interrupt it so that we don't keep triggering it and it keeps getting energized or fed, like feeding a fire, and create new neural patterns. And surprisingly, it doesn't take years, but it takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days of constant, consistent repetition, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. It takes a big, healthy commitment for that. So you've got some incredible tools. And what I want to really encourage in these workshops with you, in this coaching with you, is to keep you in a flow, to keep you reminded, and also to clarify and work with that. So you're always welcome to pop me an email. People do. You may have noticed I've been quiet. I haven't done some new videos because I've been lately doing my best to be with my family, friends, to connect with them, to support them, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and it's a priority. And I also have a number of clients, coach clients, who hire me, and I've got instructors that I need to give my undivided attention to. So we're getting there though, catching up. So please allow a deep breath. And you know what? Let's do something real quick, because we did this in the class and everybody loved it and it was very helpful. So let's do a brief breakout. The breakout rooms in Zoom. And for this, you're going to need to unmute yourself. So here's the question. Just briefly, I'll put you into groups of 3. Now, if we have an odd number present on the call, some of you may be in a group of 2, some may be in 3. However it works out, I'll do my best, because I'm going to let the system do it. And the question is, what's a takeaway for you? You've been listening to me ramble a bit here. What does it mean? How are you relating to that? What's relevant for you right here now? So talking about self-awareness, is there anything like it struck a chord, or that's reminding you of something that you need to work on or that's important to you? and help each other. Fair enough. Hey, Barbara, you back? She's coming. Oh, she just moved. Welcome back, Barb. All right, so let me do this real quick for you. Oh. All right, so bear with me 1 second. Oh, there they are. Screen changed. All right, so I'm going to do this. It'll take about 2 minutes. We have automatically, no. Okay, it's going to go groups of 4. So I'm going to give you like around 7, 8 minutes. So be mindful of the time. Each person will have about 2 minutes, and the system will give you a 1 minute warning. I'm not able to put 2 or 3, it just has 4. It's taking over my screen.
Got a big audience here.
Okay. All right, guys, so just have fun. If for some reason you go into a room, oh boy, it's quick, nice. Remember to unmute yourselves, guys, so you can talk. I don't know if you can hear me. It says that we gotta get you in a room. Where are you? All right. Just about 2 minutes.
Ken, I cut out too early, man. How you doing? A little screen popped up and said, you have 59 seconds. Do you want to leave? And I said, sure. And then I meant to hit no.
Oh, your group is missing you. No worries.
I didn't want to ask the questions. So anyway, very interested in becoming a Silva instructor. So we could probably talk about this later on, but I figured you're the guy. So
Good time would be early September to talk to me.
okay.
I'm going to be closed for about 3 weeks. Family
Sure.
coming up.
Yeah, very good.
That'd be great, Jeff. I'd love to. Be honored.
And been buying a lot of his some of the older books, you know, like Keys to the Kingdom and stuff like that. Very interesting stuff. So
All right. Very cool.
I can't believe it. She was talking. I just asked her a question. I can't believe it. Oh well.
Hey, Mary, I didn't see you before. Mary J, good to see you.
You left too early, Jeffrey.
Helen, I'm sorry. That little rather than hitting ignore, I hit leave now, and I never got any of your stories, so I feel terrible.
Okay.
You can connect with her later.
We sure will, yeah.
Okay, let me just make sure everybody's back. Okay, we're good. Hey, how did you enjoy the breakout room? Do you find it helpful? It's not the same as being there. You give me a thumbs up, or you can say something.
Yeah, it was interesting meeting some.
Give me a thumbs down. Or tell me, I do want honest feedback, how to improve, because I want to serve you better and all that. All right, so good job. So let's build up. We're talking about closing the gap between. Hey, Barbie, you figured out how to put that big thumbs up there. Closing the gap between things are. So one of the frameworks that is threaded, that's used, and we build on all throughout Silva, whether it be the core foundation program of what we used to call basic lecture series to life and intuition system, right on into graduate work like my mastery seminar or the ultra healing. And you'll find it in your manual, especially the newer manuals, Life System, on page 26, I believe it is, for that. So I'll put some on the board. It's 5 steps to get what you want or to solve problems and create solutions. So let's put it into this idea of how do you and I get to the point where we master our skills, we take back control of our lives, we reignite our lives, and not succumb to, I mean, there are serious challenges. I don't mean to make light of it, folks, at all with that. So what we're working toward is to move through life with more grace and more ease. And I'd like to read to you a quote from a good friend of mine, John Filito. Some of you may know him. He and I coach each other. He's my coach. I'm his coach at times. And he's the author of a book called The 90-Day Game. Grace and ease. Struggling comes from fear and doubt and causes you to draw from the limited resources of your intellect. When you apply the principle of grace and ease, you draw from a much larger pool of resources. the creative faculties of imagination and intuition within your inner conscious mind. Struggling bypasses the natural processes of incubation and illumination where inspiration is drawn from. Grace and ease means less tension, anxiety, and controlling and more ease, trust, and faith. Pretty cool. So step number one, I'll use the board, is in the 5 steps, is to acknowledge. And you've heard me say this before, if you've been in a training with me recently, as I've traveled the world. Those of you who know me, I'm the guy who Jose selected out of 1,000 instructors to be one of only 4 people, he was one of them, to do graduate advanced work to train and certify instructors. Such a blessing. And it's really put me in a great position because over the decades, I've been interacting with so many thousands and thousands of graduates and fellow instructors. So it gives me a lot of food, if you will, for thought. So in any situation, like right now, with whatever you're facing, with whatever's changed in your life, the first step is to acknowledge the current reality. So what I said earlier is, if we've lost a loved one, if we've lost the physical connection with loved ones and we miss them, there's an element of grieving. If we've lost our business or our business has been decimated, that's very real. If we're feeling anxious and upset and not sure, do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? If I go into the store, even with the mask, will I be safe? We need to acknowledge that this is our current, to see things the way they are and to minimize the constant barrage of drama through the media. Can't say that enough. Please minimize it. And what I'd really more recommend is be educated. See things the way they are, not make it worse. Ask questions, research, fact check when people post things. Look at as many different sources as you can, and what is it based on? Is there research behind it? Is there evidence behind it? Or is it just, wishing and hoping, which is a good thing, but when we're dealing with a pandemic, not so much. So the thing is to allow the grieving, the upset. What we're talking about here is emotional integrity. And this has been coming up a lot, mental house cleaning. You remember cancel, cancel? So what do you think? Is it appropriate if you put on the news or you're reading the paper and they're giving you spiking in Texas? Is that a cancel, cancel? I would say no. That's happening, if it's happening, and it is. So the cancel, cancel is used as a pattern interrupter. So part of acknowledging is to recognize the way things are, not ruminate on it, not wallow in it, not worry excessively, but it gives us some information that maybe guides us decision-wise. I was all set to do a live in-person class, August. It's probably the most popular time of the year. It's always a sold-out class. It's very high. Some of you have been in the August classes. And I just decided to let it go. Even though in Connecticut, things are much better. Apparently, we're one of the most, we're in the best shape states, at least currently. But we still have to wear masks and we still have to distance. So how am I going to put people in a room and make them wear a mask all day for 4 days in a row? And how are we going to have 6 feet apart and all the things we do with this interact? So I don't want to put anybody at risk. So I decided just to let it go. And that's why I set up another online Zoom until we get out of this mess. So when we accept things the way they are, and we recognize the current reality, it empowers us to make clearer, better decisions, rather than the argument that's going on with people in the debate. I saw something on the news where, and I couldn't take watching that much. Apparently in a shop, a large store, one of the attendants said, "Please, sir, put on your mask. That is required, being here." And the guy nearly killed the woman. He's jumping all over, yelling, and a big guy with that, with respect. That's an example of people who are really just so stressed, so caught up in it, intense. Now, I'm sure you guys wouldn't do that. The other thing here is we want some psychological flexibility. So what I want to recommend to you is the cancel is used when we find ourselves using an irrational fears, making things up, worrying excessively, or somebody saying, oh my God, you'll never be able to do this. That's a cancel, because you're making efforts, you're trained. Does that make sense? So what I want to say is be careful about how you use that. Let it read. In fact, I haven't finished it, so I'm going to be brave and say, you might find this very interesting, this particular book. It's called The Liberated Mind. I'll send out a link with the replay. It's by Stephen Hayes, PhD. And he talks about pivoting toward what matters. And one of the things I'd not heard, excuse me, this term before, psychological flexibility. It's the ability to feel and think with openness, to attend voluntarily to your experience of the present moment, and to move your life in directions that are important to you, building habits that allow you to live life in accordance with your values and aspirations. It's about learning not to turn away from what is painful, instead turning toward your suffering in order to live a life full of meaning and purpose and understand it. He shared an example, research. You remember the horrible events of 9/11, everybody? I know all of you were alive then. I mean, how could you not, right? So here's a sneak quiz. Who do you think suffered more trauma, post-traumatic, trauma later? The people who are actually physically there, watching people jumping to their death because of the fires in the building, off of the skyscrapers, who actually physically witnessed that, or people who did everything they could to avoid thinking about it and were determined not to get upset. Who do you think experienced later after the event more trauma, and still to this day?
The second group.
Yeah, the second group, the people who avoided it. Thanks, Deanna. Are you Claudia's sister?
Yes, I am. Yes.
I think that speaks volumes. So that's what
She took it when she was like 5 or something, right? We took it as kids together.
I took it. I don't really remember how old I was when I took this, when I started.
Well, we're not going to ask you who's older or younger. But anyway, to go back to this, that's the point that was being made, is that it's unhealthy for us to ignore that. It doesn't mean wallow in it. It means acknowledge it, accept it, and then do something about it. And that's the empowering. What are we feeling? I remember Gary Zukav years ago. If you remember Gary Zukav, I'm 60, I'll be 69 this year. He's definitely older than me. I think he's still alive and well. And he wrote a book, Recovering the Soul. And it wasn't his topic, but he was talking about this with different terminology, that if people were to pay attention to what's behind the craving for chocolate or the craving for the junk food, which is how we self-soothe, they wouldn't have such a struggle instead of, fighting it. So the fighting it, just whatever we give attention to, we give energy to, and whatever we give energy to will grow and multiply. And that's the basis of this. So I know there's so much more. We could spend hours on this, and I don't want to because time doesn't allow. So this first thing is we need to stop being rigid in our thinking. And psychological rigidity would be when we self-soothe, we turn to drugs, alcohol, or we avoid, we run away, we watch excessive TV, because that's the pathway researchers are finding for that pathology. I gave you, so I think you get that. Let's move on. The acceptance with openness, curiosity, we're embracing it the way it is. Number two you can guess is, you then have to have a goal or a vision. And I would very respectfully encourage you that, yes, think of goals. I don't mind telling you, I stopped setting goals. It's been years. I mean, I have goals, I have aspirations, but I used to write everything down very precisely, do this, do that, and it's very cool and it works. But I find that because of where I'm at in my life more so, what has saved my butt throughout the decades and has helped me to tolerate suffering, that's helped me to tolerate disappointment, that's helped me to tolerate betrayals personally and professionally, is having a clearly defined, specific vision of my life, my future, and the kind of life I want to live, the kind of people I want to interact with, the kind of relationships I want to have, the kind of work I want to do, the kind of lifestyle. So it's not always about money, it's about creating that life, creating that vision. And even though it may not be true yet, and even though we may not know yet how to get there, it will help us to feel more hopeful, more optimistic. And hope and optimism cause the frontal lobes of the brain to fire, and we're more likely to have inspiration. We're more likely to have ideas. When we are stressed, so fear, doubt, beating ourselves up, cause cortisol levels to increase in the body, and they cause the reptilian lizard brain to activate. And when the lizard brain activates, when the primitive part of the brain activates, we don't think with our higher functions, and we begin to get stuck in survival, in desperation. And they're saying desperate people do desperate things. That's definitely the example of that. So creating a vision of that, we're going to work on this. I'm going to take you through steps at level. So I'm going to recommend that you do this writing, and also that you do it like 1 year from now, 5 years, 10 years, especially now, guys, because the news media is still full of all sorts of dire warnings. Agreed? And it's getting to a point, maybe we don't even know who to believe. So if we can put that aside. So we need to liberate ourselves, our thinking, so that we think more clearly and we be that human being we are. The third would be, the vision, 1 year, 5 years out, even 10 years out, regardless of how old you may be now. And I'm not trying to be funny. Number 3 would be, we then need what? A plan or a strategy. So we need a plan how we're going to get there. So how will you take care of yourself during these challenging times? I'll just put it that way, soften it a bit. How are you taking care of yourself? How do you, are you meditating regularly? Are you eating properly, minimizing sugar? Because excessive sugar will compromise your immune system. Are you sleeping enough? Giving yourself permission to get at least 7.5 hours to 9 hours of sleep, which all the research shows is necessary. These are things. How about your connections with people? Are you, like here, look at you. I mean, God bless you guys. You took out of your busy lives and all the craziness, time to be here, to educate yourselves, to build on that, to support yourself. So get more training. Maybe it means having a coach. Maybe it means reading a book. Maybe it means researching some more. In Silva, you have all these tools and techniques like Mirror the Mind, the ultimate self-improvement technique. Number 4, let me just write this down for you, would be you got to take action. It always slips my mind whether it's 1 M or 2 M's. I probably spelled it wrong with this. So nothing happens until we actually do it, until we actually practice. So I know you've heard this before as Silva grads. It's one thing to go through the class. It's another thing to actually make it a part of your life where you're using the tools. Even if you're just entering your level, putting some beautiful music on, sitting on the beach or sitting in the tub, just to allow your body chemistry to stabilize. If you just do that, you'll live longer, you'll age more gracefully. If you do that on a daily basis, let alone all the other things you can do with this. And number 5 would be, claim it or appreciate it. Often we say, claim it, meaning to feel gratitude, give yourself feedback if you've made even a little bit of progress. If things are just a little bit better, to give yourself that feedback and celebrate it. as compared to, boy, I could have done better. I heard someone, I was coaching sales, they said, I only made this week, it's my best yet, 7 closings. But I could have done more. Have you ever done that to yourself? That's beating, what I mean by beating ourselves up emotionally, not allowing ourselves to be what we are and to do our best, and giving ourselves permission to sometimes not be perfect, to sometimes make mistakes, errors. So the surest way to have more is to appreciate what you do have. So back to my friend John Felito, his quote, appreciation. When you focus on what you have versus on what is missing. When you focus on what you have, small or large, you shift from a scarce to an abundant mentality. So when we're focusing on what we don't have, and even though we broke a record, but I could have done better, I should have done this, that is scarcity mentality. The universe is complete, nothing is missing. By appreciating what you already have, you increase your perception of its value, opening you up to noticing and attracting more and more to be grateful for. So I've noticed, if you haven't already, that when you're using your tools and techniques and you make even a little bit of progress, feeling some genuine gratitude and appreciation is the surest way to have more, to resonate more. So let's put this together, and I'll lock this in. Another way is when you're here claiming it, you want to lock it in. This is about you, but I can give you an example myself. I now have a resource that I've been there, done that. I did an actual full Silva class. There's a lot of content. We had, 8 days, as you know, and it went great. People loved it. It was so much better than I thought. So I can draw on that as I get ready for the next one. So when we start to worry, or we start to, maybe our confidence is shaken a little bit, it's important that we have locked in from our past successes, happy experiences, moments of excellence, so that we can then remember them when we're facing a new challenge, which then is like saying, hey, if I've been there, done that, if I've done it before, I can do it again. So I remind you, if you haven't been back to a Silva class since 2007, in Life System, we teach a resource state, how to lock in with 3 fingers to build confidence and to sustain that. I love it. We never used to teach that application in the early days for that. So I'll guide you through this. So what it means is when you're reliving that moment of excellent success, everyone just put your fingers together and you tell yourself, anytime I need to or want to feel this way, think this way, or be this way, this is all I need to do. So that then you're just using this like a light switch to bring yourself back. So let's take a look at the exercise. I want to guide you to level, and you don't need to speak up, but Fred or Karen or Claudia, whoever, I'm going to make a shift in the sound. It should be okay, but if not, I'll be scrolling through, just kind of do something like that, and I'll know what you mean. And if that's the case, then I'll just turn off the sound, because I agree, when it's in and out, it's not cool like that. So let me tell you about the exercise. I just got to grab my paper here. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, here. You don't need to write this down. You'll have it later, but this is where I'm going to guide you at level. So what I want you to think about is a vision for yourself, a vision for you a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and what it means. And then I'm going to ask you, while at level, a series of questions. I would recommend you use Mirror the Mind. So the blue frame, remember, would be the current reality for you in your life, and the white frame would be the vision of your future. And as if you're looking as if it's happened already, you want to do this with elevated emotions, meaning you don't want to sit back passively like watching a movie. You want to be there as if you're there now experiencing it, and all the joy and the good feelings that will come with it. So the questions are, what do I want to create? Be as specific as you can. What is motivating you to create this? What talents and strengths do you have that align with your intention? And you might also notice, I need more training, or I need a skill, or part of my plan and my strategy is I'm a little weak in this area, I need some help. Why is this valuable to me? Key question. And how will I and others benefit from my creation? So we have time. Let's do a quick breakout. And may I ask you, would you help each other and just briefly describe your vision of your future? What's important to you? Relationship, business, or all of the above? Just briefly give each other. So I'll just do a real quick 5 minutes. Let me just set this up right now. So you got to unmute yourself, unmute your microphone. And you might be in the same room. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to let it rock and roll. Have fun, guys. You need to unmute yourself. G's iPhone if you want to participate. Priscilla, hi, Dad. We're in breakout room. Just unmute yourself, Priscilla, and you'll be able to get into a room. Unmute yourself. Unmute your microphone.
Yes. Can you hear me? I mistakenly dropped myself off from the group. I hope they don't mind because I pushed the wrong button. This is my first time to join your workshop after graduating from the Philippines, like when I was 18. Now I'm 50.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Where are you from in the Philippines?
in Manila.
Manila. I've been to Manila and Cebu
Wow.
to do graduate programs. I even did some workshops too.
Yes.
It was fun.
My teacher was Judy Kwa, and
Judy
here
Kwa.
I attended with Mandy Bass in Miami.
Nice.
Yes.
Judy Quaz, who brought me back. She went through instructor training with me.
How is she now?
I have no idea. I'm not in touch with her. We can talk later. Welcome
Okay.
back, everybody. Hey. I hope you had fun in the room. Do you find it helpful? Sometimes talking with somebody else helps add clarity.
It does.
So let's do the exercise. And in order to do that, I'm going to guide you to level. We'll do 3, 2, 1. Or I just have to. Any quick question? I'm sorry, quick question.
I have a quick question, Ken.
Yeah, tell me who's asking.
Laura, here. Can you see me? Hear me?
Now I got you.
Okay. So just a quick question. When you tell us to visualize, right? Visualize in the mirror of the mind. Do I visualize, let's say if I'm visualizing myself with family, husband, kids, whatever in the picture, do I visualize myself in the picture, or do I visualize the picture without me being in the picture? Do I visualize myself as a body in the, do you understand what I'm trying to ask? Yeah.
All of the above. The ideal is to feel it, not just visualize it.
Yeah, the feeling, yeah, definitely. But in terms of vision.
As if you're there with your family, as if you're there with your clients, as if you're there with your friends, and what you're experiencing is part of the vision of your future.
So I do see myself in my vision.
Absolutely, that would be the ideal.
Okay.
As if you're there experiencing it now. So what you want to do is not try to force it, is do it in a way that works best for you, where there's a flow. So if you don't want to struggle with it, if you struggle with it, it's just going to create tension. The question, thanks. Anybody else? Fred?
Yeah, I would refer to it as emotional immersion. You step into the room.
Step into the room. Thank you. Good one.
I have a question. What was the last question that we were supposed to ask? After why this is valuable to me? What was the last question? I missed the last question.
Well, last two. Why is this valuable to me? And then how will I and others benefit from my creation?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? You know, in looking at the time, I wanted to do more Q&A, and so it's on me with that. I'm happy, pop me an email or something if you do, but it's important. Is everybody okay? Question? You good? All right, shall we do it?
Yes.
So please fasten your seatbelts. I will ask you to please put your speakers on mute, your speaker, whatever. And I also want to add this too, is August 24th, I'm starting the immersion. I only allow 24 people. There's a group of graduate reviewers. After that, there's a waiting list, and then newbies, for obvious reasons with that. And if you're one of those people interested, please make sure you can make each and every session. There will not be replays for a lot of reasons, respecting the copyrights and others. Second, in order to participate, you need to be on video. So there are more than a few people who are not on video. So if you want to participate in the class, that's a requirement. Otherwise, if for some reason you can't, then I'm sorry, but I want to be able to watch you as we go through the meditations. Here with the grads, it's not as urgent, but it's important. This is so I can do my job. All right, so fasten your seatbelts. I'll go slowly, give you plenty of time. I'm going to put the alpha sound on. And remember, Fred, you're going to give me a thumbs up. Let me just put this sucker on. Okay, nice and easy. Allow your eyelids to close. And I'm talking now, so fine. All right, allow a very slow, deep breath. Thank you, Claudia. Inhale slowly through your nose. And as you exhale, mentally repeat and or visualize. Think of the number 3 times. Allow another deep breath. Inhaling slowly. Take your time. And as you exhale, mentally repeat and or visualize the number 2 3 times. Allow another deep breath. And while exhaling, mentally repeat and or visualize. Think of the number 1 3 times. You are now at level 1, the basic plane level, where you can function from your center. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. It is a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I'm going to count slowly from 10 to 1. And on each descending number, you will feel yourself going deeper, and you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind. 10, 9, feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. 5, 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1. You are now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. The difference between genius mentality and average mentality is that geniuses use more of their minds and use them in a special manner. You are now able to use more of your mind and to use it in a special manner. Impression of information for your benefit, programming, creating a vision of your future, a vision full of hope, joy, optimism, and a vision that's in alignment with what's really important to you. You may use the mirror of the mind. Remember the mirror of the mind. To use the mirror of the mind technique, you begin like you are now with your eyelids closed. And you first, on your mental screen, imagine the full-length mirror framed in blue. And this is where you acknowledge the way things are currently, the current reality. You may do this now. What is your current reality? What are your life circumstances, challenges that you are experiencing in your life? Acknowledge them, make note of them, pay attention to how it makes you feel. I'll remain quiet for a few moments while you do this privately. Now, erase the image, change the mirror's frame, move it to the left, and in your imagination, imagine now a white frame. And the white frame is symbolic of your goal, your vision. What is it that you really, really want to create in your life? Remember, clarity is power. Be specific. And imagine you in your life interacting in your relationships with family, friends, co-workers, clients, a life you enjoy, a lifestyle that is consistent and in alignment with your values, your health, your well-being, your emotional health, physical health. Be as detailed as you can and begin to imagine and or visualize it as if you are there. What is motivating you to create this? Why do you want to create this life vision? What's important to you? What are the values you resonate with? What talents and strengths do you have that align with your intention? What talents and strengths do you have that align with your intention? If you recognize a talent or a skill that's missing, what steps can you take? What training? What lessons? How can you develop this skill? Continue now the white frame. Why is this valuable to you? This vision of your future. Imagine 1 year from now, 5 years, 10 years. Continuing to progress, continuing to truly get better and better. This vision of your future, why is it valuable to you? How will it benefit you and those you care about? How will you and others benefit from your creation? Imagine and or visualize as if you're there, and how does this make you feel? Feel gratitude in advance. Feel genuine appreciation and gratitude, knowing that Source will guide you to make the right decisions to fulfill this mission. Feel genuine gratitude and appreciation in advance. Finish up any closing thoughts. Now, you can put your 3 fingers together. First 2 fingers and thumb touching the tips, your ring finger and pinky touching your palm. And just say to yourself, you can repeat after me. Whenever I need to think this way, feel this way, behave this way, this is all I need to do. This is so. Whenever I need to feel this way, think this way, be this way, this is all I need to do. And this is so. In a moment, I'll count from 1 to 5 and cause a sound with my fingers. And at that moment, you may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling much, much better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly now, 3. At the count of 5, you may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling the way you feel when you've had just the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. 4, 5, eyelids open, wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling much better than before. Welcome back, you genius, you. God, we have so many geniuses here. Can I have a big smile? Let me see a big, beautiful smile on your face. Nice, Mickey. Haven't seen you in a while. All right. Good job, guys. Good job. Excellent. Just making sure everybody's back. Okay. Anybody from the exercise process, question come up? You need some clarity? If you have a question, just unmute your microphone. You good? Hey, Barb, you're back. Barb is a lot of fun in the classes, but let me see if somebody else, because Laura, you've been asking the questions and that's great. However.
That was great.
Thank you. Well, I'm looking for a question in the interest of time. You're good? Okay, then Laura gets the floor again. Go.
Okay, it's a follow-up question with the first one that I asked. If I feel disconnection emotionally when I objectively visualize myself in my ideal picture, right, reality, would it still work if I don't visualize myself in the picture?
That's for you to evaluate based on the progress you make. There's no hard and fast rule. I can tell you this, experience it as if you're there, as if you're living it, and with the emotion.
So the emotion is the important part here. Okay, so as long as I'm doing it.
And be specific what it is you want.
Okay, I'll try that then.
Good question. Actually, your question is very helpful, I think, to everybody. Thank you for asking. All right, good job.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Corinne.
Could you go through the questions that were asked during the Mirror of the Mind?
Well, I'm going to send it to you. All right.
Thank you.
The time, because we're back and you've been in and out, so I will do that. I just want to respect the time, guys. I really, really appreciate you being here. I had wanted to do a quick healing circle for others who need that. Are you okay with that, or
yes,
save that?
Yeah.
Well, just in case if anybody has to be somewhere, do that. Absolutely, I'm okay with that. I understand. I'm okay staying a little bit later. It's like 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's short. We're just going to do a quick little thing. But what I really wanted to do is give you a chance to do a little quick casework. It's very important that you are practicing honing your intuition, that you are building confidence, that you begin to distinguish when you're on the money, when you're off. And as you know, that's the model that we use here, you know, with the caseworking. Plus, these are kind of emergencies that people need. So before I do that, just by a show of hands, is this helpful for you? Finding this of value?
Oh yeah, of course.
Would you like to do more?
Yeah, we'd love it. We were talking about that in the breakout room.
Definitely.
I cannot promise once a month at least. So I'll set it up and I'll send you more information. It's probably going to have to wait till September because the 3 weeks I'm going to be here, but minimal, because our family from California is coming. We haven't seen them like forever. So they'll be here for 3 weeks. So I've been that's why I've been so busy lately, trying to get everything set up and organized for their visit. But I'll communicate that to you. If you have questions or you have comments, please mute yourself. Somebody got all this crazy noise with that. Just let me know. So the exercise, I'll guide you with that, and I'll give you feedback at level. All right. So just 2 quick cases. These are kind of emergencies that could use a lot of help. And while you're there, I'll give you, and then we'll do a healing for all of us. Energizing. How's that sound? Pretty good?
Okay.
All right, everybody. Yeah, this is great. So give you a little more. So please mute your microphone. And that's great. So let me get the screen share. I have to put the screen share up so I can get the sound back here for you. Share computer sound. Let's get this baby rolling. Okay. All right, so allow your eyelids to close, fasten your seatbelts. If there's any challenge with the sound, just let me know. Claudia, I'm looking right at you. So, all right. So allow a very slow, deep breath. And while exhaling, mentally repeat and or visualize. Think of the number 3 times. Allow another deep breath. And while exhaling, mentally repeat and or visualize. Think of the number 2 3 times. Allow another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and or visualize the number 1 3 times. You are now at level 1, a deeper, healthy level of mind where you can function from your center. The following statements are for your better health. Keep in mind that from now on, I will occasionally be speaking in your place. As you hear me mention these statements for your better health, imagine it, visualize it, feel it. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I am able to function in harmony, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Positive thoughts, suggestions, and images take precedence at any level and depth. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. And at that moment, imagine on your mental screen the image of the body of Kevin Clifton Carter from Fulton, Missouri, a male, 47. 1, 2, 3. Imagine now the image of Kevin Clifton Carter from Fulton, Missouri, a male, 47, on your mental screen. Scan this body with your intelligence from head to toes. Remember, you may use your hands if you like, up and down, from where the head is, where you imagine feet. Very good. Use your hands. That's it. It helps you to tune in. And what are the 3 areas of concern? Just pick 3 areas. You may feel like you're making it up. This is the right feeling. Follow your first impression I'm going to move quickly through this because we're just looking for very first impression. So what's the first area you're attracted to? It doesn't matter why. Second area, third area. Of these three areas, pick one that stands out the most. You can ask your counselors for their thoughts. What about this area? Is it the right side, the left side, front, back, inside, outside? Imagine Kevin in real-life situations, whether it be walking, dancing, talking, throwing a ball, driving a car. What images, thoughts, and/or feelings come to mind? What about the second area? Anything in the second area that you're attracted to? Remember, follow your first impression. Are you imagining the organs, muscles, tissues, cells, skeletal body? What's your first impression? And one more. What about a third area? Just quick thoughts. No discussion, no just first impressions. Okay, let me give you some feedback. While you're at level, stay at level, your eyelids closed. Kevin, his right hand has healed. He had trouble there, but he can't move his pinky. So the right pinky is numb. He's not able to move it. It has no mobility. Earlier on in the year, he broke the right arm and now has metal in his arm. So his right arm, that right side of his body, is a big area of concern. And in his hand is the plastic stuff they use on apparently NASA rockets. That's not necessarily a problem, but it's an area of concern. He had his third stent put in his heart, so the heart is an area of concern. And on the third one, they accidentally made the opening too big. They almost killed him, but he's okay. So they had to go back in. So the heart is an area of concern, chest area. Also in the chest, his lungs. Early in the year, he had lung cancer, but he's had a remission. The throat also is an area of concern. He had metal things taken out of his throat from a bullet splintering off and apparently got shot in the stomach years ago. From that, he has stomach problems, so that's an area of concern also. Wow. He also still has a bullet in his right foot that hurts him and gets very bad headaches. Please, feedback, note it. Doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, but acknowledge even a little bit you're in the area. These are points of reference for you. Now imagine some healing thoughts for Kevin. Anything that you imagine, whether you got feedback, yes or no, imagine it correcting, him progressing, healing, making the most of his situation, being able to live a more fulfilling life. Thank you. Now clear your screen. Allow a deep breath. And we're exhaling. Now imagine our group here, each of us, and although we're here virtually, imagine a nice big virtual hug, a white light with a bluish tint, completely encircling all of us. So imagine you're being immersed in this white light, bluish tint, from the tip of your head to the tip of your toes, inside and out, adding balance and harmony and joy. And imagine this energy moving from the tip of your head, moving slowly downward throughout your body, throughout your energy center. So we've started from the top one. That's okay. throughout your body, all the way down to your toes. Remember that every time you function at this dimension with a sincere desire to help humanity, your talents increase and you become more accurate every time. Thank you. In a moment, I'll count from 1 to 5. Cause a sound with my fingers, and at that moment you may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, come out slowly now. 3, the count to 5, may open your eyelids, be wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health. 4, 5, eyelids open, wide awake and alert, feeling fine and in excellent health, feeling better than before. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Wow, welcome back, you genius, you. Let me make sure everybody's back. Good job, good job. Again, I want to respect the time. You guys really rock. The point of this is people need help, especially now. And I would say this to you, when you take your precious time to help another human being, you really help yourself. All the research shows that if we become self-absorbed and we're always me, worrying about ourselves, that is an energy that's repulsive. That is an energy that pushes away. So we don't need to be humanitarian or altruistic, but just taking that step of imagining healing thoughts of somebody else, you're generating them within yourself. So I highly recommend that you do this regularly for your family, friends, people you care about. Bring them into your laboratory level with your counselors. I didn't do that with you now for that. And may I just see by show of hands, I'm very curious, is if you were to grade yourself from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, in that one case, accuracy-wise, I'm just curious, how did you do? Were you able to pick up some of the, at least the areas of concern? I see,
Yeah.
wow, 9, I see 8, 7, 8, holy mackerel, geez. Wow, wait, let me look at, I gotta move my, whoa, baby. Oh, man. Not everybody, I didn't see everybody hands up. It's not a contest. I'm just curious, I really moved quickly. Did you notice?
Yeah.
You don't need to really study, just looking for first impressions, unless you're a medical intuitive and you really want to get great detail. So it's note that with your intuition. Logic needs time, logic needs thought, logic. And I think the next one, I want to play with intuition and do one just dedicated to honing the skill. That was my intention this time, but because of this crazy pandemic, I just thought I wanted to emphasize some other things based on feedback, what I was hearing from people. But you know, more to come. And the last thought is, it slipped my mind. If you haven't read this book, Words Can Change Your Brain by Mark Robert Waldman and Dr. Andrew Newberg, it's a must read. It'll explain to you how our words and why mental house cleaning is so important. And we need to be careful how we dialogue with ourselves. We need to be careful how we explain our life. We need to be careful what words we use when we're talking with people. Words are real. It's not just semantics.
Can I have some information from some research doctors that I'd like to share with everybody quickly? I'm on a call every 2 weeks.
Go.
Research doctors from Northwestern and Lurie Hospital in Chicago. They are part of a team of 5 put together by Dr. Fauci. And they said the most important thing is wear your mask. Wear your mask, and wear your mask in elevators because there's no circulation. Don't care about anybody else. Do it. Take care of yourself. And there are 300 groups around the world working on a vaccine or a cure. So stay positive.
300 groups.
300 around the world. And there's 5 that work with Fauci every week on a phone, and this Northwestern is one of the groups. But there's 300 around the world all working on it.
Karen, thank you very much for the
Okay, so
encouragement.
stay positive, everybody, and take care of yourself. Wear your mask.
All right, guys. To be continued. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I know some of you are going to be in the class that's coming up with me or different things that are there. I think we're all pretty much on work, but just in case, if you go to Silva Method of Connecticut or silvamethodct.com, go on my blog page. there's 6 or 7 pages of videos, and they're training videos. 99% of them are training videos. A few of them introduce you to some of the services I have, but mostly support yourself, do what you can. Take out your favorite books, participate. Just last week alone, I must have spent about 20, 30 hours studying, participating. And even though I knew this stuff, it was very helpful, it was inspiring. We, especially now, it's a time that we need to support ourselves. We need to keep ourselves, the fuel going. It's like keeping the fire stoked. And the more you do, the more we'll create that vision of the future. So thank you so much for being here, Christina.
Who is the author of that book, Words Can Change Your Brain?
I'm going to send a replay, and I'll put it in there because I went so quick. Andrew Newberg, and Mark Robert Waldman. If you have a recommended reading list from me, they're on there. So I will do that. I'll make sure that I do that because I ran through things. All right, folks, until the next time.
Thank you.
Be better and better.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Ken.
Great to see you.
Awesome.
Please scroll through.
Have a good day. Have a good
Thank you, Karen.
Quick
Have a
time with your family.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice time with your family.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much,
you.
Ken.
Enjoy your
Bye.
time.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
These are wonderful, Ken. These are great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Welcome, Helen. I'll be the last.
And what was that site that you said that has the reviews, the exercises, the videos?
My site, Silva Method of Connecticut.
Okay.
Silva Method of
Silva Method CT. I'll make sure I send that link.
Yeah, please do. Thank you. Be well.
It's really easy. Remember.
Bye-bye, Ken. Take care.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ken, so much.
Thanks, Ken. Take care.
Bye.
Enjoy your
Have a
Thank
good
you.
time with your family. I appreciate it so much.
Not
so
yet. They
much.
don't come for another 10 days. Next week, I'm going to be full steam ahead getting everything done.
Sounds exciting. Your family life sounds very loving and exciting. Have fun,
Thank you.
especially during all of this time. When do you think you're going to do the next live? Or you just going to wait till
I
everything?
have no idea. Got to wait till the coast is clear.
They let you.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right.